Fusion time. Cortavius here, taking a look at this fusion for both my free-to-play and my main account and what I want to do with this. Plarium's kind of set you up with a go for it or for a long stretch or don't go for it. So let's talk through that. Is the champ worth it? And it's not just this fusion, but there's other things dependent on it. Is that worth it? And then what's it look like if you decide to go for it? So let's get into that. Before we get into the whole calendar, it's just, you got to think about this fusion. And this is what I'm thinking about on both my accounts is they're going to do the fusion. They're also going to do some kind of Titan path, hero path afterwards for a 5-star soul. Assume it's 5-star. They've got stuff on that Chaos of community event coming out after this. And it includes the soul. It includes booking the champ. It includes the champ. So you're really not just making a decision on do I want the fusion, it's do I want to participate in that next event, Titan Heroes Path, to get the soul, and do I want to get the points in that Chaos community event after? What's the value of that community event, and could you get the points some other way? I don't know. Like Plarium, they never put that information out, so you can't make those decisions in advance. That's the whole purpose of this game. They try and bait you in and then get you to miss stuff and have fear of missing out and all that. So that's what they're doing here. You know, they've given us enough information to know you're going to want the champ if you want those points in the community events, and there's personal points versus community events. I assume these will be on the personal points, but we don't know. Hey, before we go on, click the link in the description right now, and you can get the great legendary poisoner, Narma, along with 3 epics. You get Anax, Mausoleum Mage, and the best epic in the game, Uugo, as you progress. All you have to do is follow 4 steps. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch raid, complete the tutorial. And step 4, go to your inbox, Narma's there waiting. These 4 free champions will give you an insane head start in raid, so click on that link before it expires. But that's really the all or in. It's not just the fusion. It's do I want to do the fusion? I'm gonna do the soul, then I can book them, and then I'll get those community points. But even if you just get the champ and you get a soul, those are worth some points in the community event. Maybe you choose to skip booking him. You know, that might be another logical choice, but at least you don't lose out on all the points. How many points can you miss out on? Who knows again? So fusions are easy for me on my accounts, so I'll probably just go pick him up on both. But he is a champ that does some decent damage. He's a glass cannon, so he's gonna fall over. He puts an AoE weaken out, which is helpful. So I think you have to make your own decisions on the dwarves and say, do you think he's worth it for your faction, for your account, and do you want to get the soul and do you want to get the community points? I'm all in. Or if you decide, look, I'm all out, that might mean the fusion, also doing the path, and I'll give up whatever community points are available because, yeah, they give us rewards, but are they going to be worth the effort? 50-50 with Plarium. Maybe there's a great big relic at the end of that. Maybe there's not. So I think that's the decision. I'm not helping you fully with, look, here's the exact rewards because Plarium doesn't give us that. But I think that's the decision you've got to make, is it's not just the fusion itself in this champ, but it's the implications for having to do the path event and also having to do the community event and getting points there or losing out on that. So as I said, I've got the resources on both my accounts. I don't think fusions are hard for either one of them, so I might as well go pick him up and leave myself in the game for the community events. And yes, that means crap. I'm probably doing maybe a Titan path on both of these for a champ that I'm not that excited for. So maybe along the way I decide to bail. But anyway, that's the plan today. All right, let's get into, I've now decided I care about this fusion. Otherwise, I guess you're gonna click off. But if you do care, then hey, I think they gave us a calendar here that does make it reasonable to go get them. It's not a hard schedule, and they gave us some ways to make this easier. So I'm gonna skip some events in here. I do think they gave us a fusion calendar that's easy to do. And why do I say that? You know, down here, they've got this summon rush. So with this summon rush down here, you know, you could do 4 events on there. You know, that's pretty nice. So I think I'll do this summon rush. That's probably 10 sacreds worth. But if you pull the sacreds or some combination of shards, I'll skip the champ chase, or I can, and I'll skip a dungeon divers, maybe 2. Those are a grind. So you got options. That's 4 things you can skip for probably, you know, you've got the main summon rush up here where you've got to do it, and you're probably talking 6 sacreds here, So for an extra 4 or 5 sacreds, I could skip the second summon event and I could skip some other events, or I can skip 3 dungeon divers. I mean, it's a crazy value for me to skip. And the epic, I don't think the epic's worth getting an extra copy of, so I'm not motivated to go get an extra epic. I don't think the rare is that good either, so I'm not motivated to go just get some rares. So that's a really nice savings of being able to skip some events and make this fusion a little easier. So back to the, well, would I just pick them up anyway? I can do it with, if you've got the shards, you got to have the shards. It's easier to get. They'll have some progressive this weekend. It won't be a 2 times, most likely, no guaranteed. So it's probably not a great time to pull shards otherwise, but I have the shards. So that's the summon rush and the benefit you can get there. Now, to be aware, the second summoning event is the Champ Chase. So that one, it's probably 2 times Ancients. Some people think it's Voids. I don't know. But if it's 2 times Ancients, that is a great thing to pull on Champ Chase. And remember, you're going to get 750 points just for the epics, right? So don't forget, that's 750. Now, I've seen Plarium at times not bake that into the points, in which case that's 750 points, so the Champ Chase is actually easier. So maybe you don't want to skip that, you want to skip other events. I've seen them add those to the points, where you can just see they made it 3,500 points, and then it's 4,250, and they've basically baked the epics in. So you can't pull the epics, you can't fuse the epics from the rares until you hit that Champ Chase, because you don't know if they're going to be counting on those 750. And if you don't get those 750 there, you just put yourself behind and you have to get other champs. So, but you'll be 750 in for just getting those epics. And you can get the 4th epic done in there, but by then you already have this epic, this rare. And the rares are all voids, so you're not going to get them up here in the summon rush unless you're pulling voids in a summon rush, which I don't advise. So unfortunately, they didn't give us rares that you could get through Ancients. So if this is 2 times Ancients, you're just not going to get those rares. If it is 2 times Voids out here, well, then you got a chance to get the Void too. That's kind of nice, but I believe it's Ancients. Actually, I believe it's 2 times Ancients just because they gave us a Void rare here. But if you're pulling these 10 Sacreds here, you got a chance of pulling an Epic. So, because the Epic is non-Void. Now, if you pull an Epic on your second Sacred Shard, you could just stop. You don't need to pull anymore. I mean, you can go crazy and pull them anyway and get another epic and be halfway done with the fusion, you know, on the first weekend. But if I pull an epic in that first, you know, before I hit 10, boy, I'm already done. So that is a nice thing that the epic is non-void, and I might pull the summon rush. So I'm also pulling those 10 sacreds at a shot of just being done a whole lot earlier. So anyway, those are the summoning events. Par for the course, they gave us a bonus of being able to get the epic. So as far as shard events, that's the best I've seen, in which the epic is a pure bonus. It gives you the ability to skip events. You can get the epics in the Champ Chase. It's the normal two summoning events. So good schedule from the shard pulling perspective. Now the not so good. You got Dungeon Divers 1, Dungeon Divers 2, and Dungeon Divers 3. I can't draw a straight line. So 3 Dungeon Divers events. So it is Dungeon Divers heavy if you decide not to do the Summon Rush Epic and you're going all in on finishing everything else, which means, yes, you'd have to do everything else. 3 Dungeon Divers events is definitely a lot of dungeon diving, and you get very little breaks, you know, a day in between and a couple days in between here. But they did line the schedule up nice. Thankfully, Spiders starts off on the first day, so you can do Spiders right with Dungeon Divers starting today. That's nice. You don't have to sit the day out and just let them know the fusion's live and you can't actually do anything. So Dungeon Divers get Spiders done today. Tomorrow, get it out of the way, because then Champ Training starts, and I would do Champ Training through campaign or running extra food in Dragons, so you can double dip with Champ Training and Dragons. If you do that, though, don't start running your food until tomorrow when Champ Training opens. But yeah, I do Champ Training through campaign, so I'll be able to get Dungeon Divers points through the campaign. So between Dragons and campaign, I'll finish off the Dungeon Divers. And then the next Dungeon Diver starts, and you've got Ice Golem, which is another, that's another event there. Sorry, I probably shouldn't draw there. I really should draw here. So do Ice Golem during the Dungeon Divers. And then Dragon out here. I was saying Dragon. Sorry, that's Dungeon Divers up here. So you got Spiders, Spiders and Champ Training for that one. And then this one, you've got Ice Golem, and that's really it, isn't it? So I've got Ice Golem. I don't really have anything else out there. So I feel like this Dungeon Diver's sitting out there a little bit. So if I pick up that extra epic here, or pick up the epic, that could be a dungeon divers I'm looking to skip because I don't see a whole lot of stuff going on. Champ training still overlaps, so if you didn't finish, I'll probably finish champ training to do this dungeon divers though. But if not, it does overlap. So you've got some champ training and some ice golem for that second dungeon divers. But there's a scenario where you just got ice golems sitting there. And then the dungeon divers out here does have dragon for a little bit of overlap, so I'd save my dragons and I'd blast it out at the end there. Just make sure you have enough energy and a fast enough dragon team to do that. And then you're going to have the champ training event as well. And what's nice about the champ training here is they put it at the end. They've done that in the last one, I think, where on the fusions where they didn't put the training at the end. That's unfortunate. This one has training at the end. That's nice because you can level up all your rares and finish them off if you didn't do it in the first champ training. You can fuse them into the epics, and you got to take those epics all the way up to 50. So you got to make them level 40 epics, and then you got to rank them up, and then you got to get them to level 50. So that's a good chance to take all those epics up to 50 in the champ training event and get champ training points. So some people said they like to skip this, you know, or some people think that, but you got a lot of training to do then anyway. So honestly, I think by the time you take all the rares and epics up, you know, that's a lot of champ training to do anyway. So you might as well just finish it off. And then you've got the usual 3 gear enhancement 1, gear enhancement 2, and gear enhancement 3. You know, you're talking 20 million, 15 million silver for each one of those. So, you know, a good 75 to 80 million silver you're going to need to finish that. You'll get a lot of silver along the way, but you better be sitting at like 30 right now. And then you got a couple classic arenas in there that are easy to do. Those are just participation events. They're not hard. You know, just get them in and look for the easy teams to beat. And I didn't mention you got Fire Knight out here too. So that last Dungeon Divers does have Champ Training, Dragon, and Fire Knight. So I guess I was talking about skipping that Dungeon Divers, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. So that second Dungeon Divers, the Champ Chase, would be things I'd be looking at, probably skipping myself. So unless this Summon Rush is just crazy point totals, then I could just go all out. Because I do think that schedule's well organized. It is set up, I think, well. It's a well-organized, well-set-up schedule to go after it. So a few things on resources. You are going to need 160 Void Smalls and 64 Medium Void Potions. You're going to need 80 Blue Pots, medium, and 24 large blue pots, and you're going to need 80 small white pots and 108 medium and 12 large white pots. So those are the potions. You'll need about 1,000 gems, probably 30 million silver to start with, and don't use any silver outside of the gear enhancement events if that's what you're coming in with. So those are probably my main thoughts there. Champ training, I guess actually you're going to need 48 3-star chickens and 16 4-star chickens. So make sure in that first champ training you're lining up those chickens to be able to level them up in rare. And obviously you do have the second champ training event to finish that off, but I'll start stockpiling those in that first champ training event. So that's the schedule. I think it really is a decision of, you know, not the great champ we were hoping for in my mind, a decent champ, but I think that Chaos Community event was smart on their part to make him part of it, because now you got more reasons to go do them. So I'll pick it up because it's easy for me to do fusions, but I'm not too excited for him. You know, he may end up sitting in the vault. I don't think I'm excited to book him on either account, even if the Community Chaos thing wants me to do it. I'll probably be evaluating whether he's really worth it. I mean, using books that's a big cost. So, but I could pick him up and get the soul for him. And I'll make a second assessment maybe we see the community events and what the costs are and what the rewards are before we go after the soul event. So you could just pick them up as a fusion and then see make a second decision on the soul, make a third decision on the books. Each of those can be independent decisions. So that's my thoughts right now. I'll pick them up because I got plenty of shards and resources, so I'll just go after them. But if you chose to sit the whole thing out, I don't know that I can blame you on this one. Just don't know. And that's 3 in a row that we've said that on. So that's it. You know, let me know what you plan to do, and be interested to know who's going and who's not, because that helps me know whether the content's relevant for you going forward. Good luck if you're going for them.